Page 510. Example number 11. One evening he went out to buy sugar and Leela went with him. One evening he, along with Leela, went out to buy sugar. 12. Leela's mother threw a glance at him and thought the fellow already looked queer. Leela's mother, throwing a glance at him, thought the fellow already looked queer. 13. He blinked and answered that he did not know. Blinking, he answered that he did not know. 14. She mentioned the police and shouted at him. Mentioning the police, she shouted at him. 15. Mr. Shiva Shankar came home an hour later, grew very excited over all this, went to the police station and lodged a complaint. Coming home an hour later, Mr. Shiva Shankar grew so excited over all this that he went to the police station to lodge a complaint. 16. She took it to the tap and washed off the coating of tamarind on it. She took it to the tap to wash off the coating of tamarind on it. 17. Sir Mohan threw out his chest, smoothed his balliot tie for the umpteenth time and waved a goodbye to the mirror. Sir Mohan, throwing out his chest and smoothing his balliol tie for the umpteenth time, waved a goodbye to the mirror. 18. On one side of her nose glistened a diamond nose ring, and she had several gold bangles on her arms. While on one side of her nose there glistened a diamond nose ring, she had several gold bangles on her arms. 19. She sat down on her steel trunk and started talking to him. Sitting down on her steel trunk, she started talking to him. 20. Lady Lala opened the brass carrier and took out a bundle of cramped chapatis and some mango pickle. Lady Lal opened the brass carrier to take out a bundle of cramped chapatis and some mango pickle. 21. She was fond of a little gossip and had no one to talk to at home. Although she was fond of a little gossip, she had no one to talk to at home. 22. He did not like the poor illiterate relatives hanging around his bungalow, so they never came. As he did not like the poor illiterate relatives hanging around his bungalow, they never came. 23. He came up to her once in a while at night and stayed for a few minutes. He came up to her once in a while at night to stay for a few minutes. 24. He just ordered her about in anglicized Hindustani and she obeyed passively. She obeyed passively what he just ordered her about in anglicized Hindustani. 25. The signal came down and the changing of the bell announced the approaching train. When the signal came down, the changing of the bell announced the approaching train. 26. She heaved her squat, bulky frame through the door and found a seat by the window. Heaving her squat, bulky frame through the door, she found a seat by the window. 27. She then opened her betel case and made herself 2 betel leaves charged with a red and white paste and minced betel nuts. She then opened the betel case to make herself 2 betel leaves charged with a red and white paste and minced betel nuts. 28. Then she rested her chin on her hands and sat gazing idly at the jostling crowd. Then she rested her chin on her hands to sit, gazing idly at the jostling crowd. 30. He was fond of conversation, and like a cultured Englishman, he could talk on almost any subject. Being fond of conversation, he was like a cultural Englishman who could talk on almost any subject. 31. It was a cantonment, and some English officers might be on the train. It being a cantonment, some English officers might be on the train. Page 511. 32. He would retire to his corner by the window and get out a copy of the Times. He would retire to his corner by the window, getting out a copy of the Times. 33. With a sigh, he sat down in a corner and opened the copy of the Times. Sitting down in a corner with a sigh, he opened the copy of the Times. 34. One of the soldiers came up to the last compartment and stuck his face through the window. One of the soldiers came up to the last compartment, sticking his face through the window. 35. He surveyed the compartment and noticed the unoccupied berth. Surveying the compartment, he noticed the unoccupied berth. 36. It almost sounded like English, but they knew better than to trust their inebriated ears. Although it almost sounded like English, they knew better than to trust their inebriated ears. 37. The engine whistled and the guard waved his green flag. As the engine whistled, the guard waved his green flag. 38. They picked up Sir Mohan's suitcase and flung it onto the platform. Picking up Sir Mohan's suitcase, they flung it onto the platform. 39. The engine gave another short whistle and the train began to move. As soon as the engine gave another short whistle, the train began to move. 40. The soldiers caught Sir Mohan by the arms and flung him out of the train. Catching Sir Mohan by the arms, the soldiers flung him out of the train. 41. He reeled backwards, tripped on his bleeding, and landed on the suitcase. Reeling backwards and tripping on his bedding, he landed on the suitcase. I repeat 41 as there is printing mistake. He reeled backwards, tripped on his bedding, and landed on the suitcase. Reeling backwards and tripping on his bedding, he landed on the suitcase. 42. Sir Mohan's feet were glued to the earth and he lost his speech. While Sir Mohan's feet were glued to the earth, he lost his speech. 43. The warden gave him a cigar and shook hands. Giving him a cigar, the warden shook hands. 44. He tossed a quarter into the hat of a blind man sitting by the door and boarded his train. Tossing a quarter into the hat of a blind man sitting by the door, he boarded his train. 45. He opened this and gazed fondly at the finest set of burglars' tools in the East. Opening this, he gazed fondly at the finest set of burglars' tools in the East. 48. He was dressed in a tasteful and well-fitting clothes and carried his dusted suitcase in his hand. Dressed in a tasteful and well-fitting clothes, he carried his dusted suitcase in his hand. 47. Jimmy Valentine looked into her eyes, forgot what he was, and became another man. Looking into her eyes, Jimmy Valentine became another man as he forgot what he was. 48. He opened a shoe store and secured a good run of trade. Opening a shoe store, he secured a good run of trade. 49. Socially, he was a success and made many friends. As he made many friends, socially he was a success. 50. He met Miss Annabel Adams and became more and more captivated by her charms. After meeting Miss Annabel Adams, he became more and more captivated by her charms. 51. 51. The vault was a small one, but it had a new patented door. Though the vault was a small one, it had a new patented door. 52. The old banker sprang to the handle and tugged at it for a moment. The old banker sprang to the handle, tugging at it for a moment. 53. With that act, Ralph D. Spencer passed away and Jimmy Valentine took his place. As Ralph T. Spencer passed away with that act, Jimmy Valentine took his place. 54. He set his suitcase on the table and opened it out flat. He set his suitcase on the table to open it out flat. 55. Jimmy Valentine put on his coat and walked outside the railings towards the front door. Putting on his coat, Jimmy Valentine walked outside the railings towards the front door. Page 512. 56. Young parents are in some institution and the child takes back to the street and gets involved in something. As young parents are in some institution, the child takes back to the street to get involved in something. 57. We are fighting abortion by adoption and we have saved thousands of lives. We have saved thousand lives. We have saved 1,000 lives fighting abortion by adoption. 58. One evening we went out and we picked up 4 people. One evening when we went out, we picked up 4 people. 59. I put her in bed and there was such a beautiful smile on her face. When I put her in bed, there was such a beautiful smile on her face. 60. I have lived like an animal in the street, but I am going to die like an angel. Although I have lived like an animal in the street, I am going to die like an angel. 61. We may be doing social work in the eyes of the people, but we are really contemplatives in the heart of the world. Although we may be doing social work in the eyes of the people, we are really contemplatives in the heart of the world. 62. I do not smoke for 1 week and I send you this money. I do not smoke for 1 week to send you this money. 63. The absence of a sense of beauty not only cheats man of aesthetic experience, but it also harms his physical and mental well-being. Apart from cheating man of aesthetic experience, the absence of a sense of beauty harms his physical and mental well-being. 54. All these should be put together and shown as reverential offerings. All these should be put together to be shown as reverential offerings. Change of degree of comparison. You know there are 3 degrees of comparison in English: positive, comparative, and superlative. Table. Type, left column type, next right column positive, next right column comparative, last right column superlative. I'll read horizontally. 1. By adding ER and EST, bright, brighter, brightest, cheap, cheaper, cheapest, old, older, oldest, tall, taller, tallest. By adding R and ST, brave, braver, bravest, nice, nicer, nicest, large, larger, largest, late, later, latest. 3. By doubting the final consonant and adding ER and EST. Big, bigger, biggest. Hot, hotter, hottest. Fat, fatter, fattest. Thin, thinner, thinnest. 4. By changing the final Y into I and adding ER, EST. Easy, easier, easiest, happy, happier, happiest, pretty, prettier, prettiest, silly, sillier, silliest. 5. By putting more and most before the positive form. Beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. Frightening, more frightening, most frightening. Intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent. Practical, more practical, most practical. Page 513. Positive, bad/evil/ill. Worse, worst. Good, better, best. Far, farther, F-A-R-T-H-E-R, F-U-R-T-H-E-R. Farthest of distance only, F-U-R-T-H-E-S-T. Little, less, least. Many, more, most. Much, more, most. Old, older, oldest of people and things. Old, elder, eldest of person only of the same family. Worked out examples: positive, comparative, superlative. 1. There is no mystery so great as misery. Misery is greater than any other mystery. Misery is the greatest mystery. 2. Very few subjects are as interesting as history. History is more interesting than most other subjects. History is one of the most interesting subjects. 3. No other city in India is as big as Mumbai. Mumbai is bigger than any other city in India. Misery is the greatest mystery. 4. No other metal is as precious as gold. Gold is more precious than any other metal. Gold is the most precious metal. 5. No other boy in the class is as tall as he. He is taller than any other boy in the class. Superlative, least, L-E-A-S-T. Some printing mistake is here. 6. Very few tasks are so easy as this. This task is easier than most other tasks. This is one of the easiest tasks. 7. No other peak in the world is as high as Mount Everest. Mount Everest is higher than any other peak in the world. Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. 8. She is as red as rose. A rose is not redder than she. Here, superlative is blank. 9. The lion is not as strong as the tiger. The tiger is stronger than the lion. Superlative is blank. 10. I have never met a man who is so kind as he. I have never met a man who is kinder than he. He is the kindest man that I have ever met. C. Latin comparatives. The following are used only in comparative degrees: senior to, junior to, superior to, inferior to. These are known as Latin comparatives. Example: he is senior to me, but his sister is junior to my brother. The song seems to be superior to any other song. Modern music is often considered inferior to that of the past. D. Regular comparisons. 1. Some compound adjectives have two possible comparatives and superlatives. Positive, good looking. Comparative, better looking, more good looking. Superlative, best looking, most good looking. Well known, better known, more well known. Best known, most well known. Page 514. 2. Double comparatives. Gradual increase or decrease is expressed by two comparatives joined by and. Example: she is getting fatter and fatter. Jimmy became more and more captivated by Annabelle's charms. The weather is getting hotter and hotter. She became less and less interested in study. The road is getting more and more steep, or the road is getting steeper and steeper. 3. Groups with two members. Example: he likes Leela and Beena, but I think Leela is the better/best of the two. Take the bigger/biggest one. Both are good. 4. Correlated comparatives. The. We use correlated comparatives to express the idea that things change or vary together. Example: the more I study, the less I learn. The older I get, the happier I become. Word order: the plus comparative plus subject plus verb. 5. Much, far, etc. plus comparative. Very is not used with comparatives. In place of very, V-E-R-Y, we use much, far, very much, a lot, lots, any, no, rather, a little, a bit, and even. Example: my guide is much/far older than me. Spanish is far/much more difficult to learn than French. He did it rather more quickly. It is a little less expensive. She looks no older than her daughter. Your handwriting is even worse than Boo-Boo's. 6. Subject pronoun or object pronoun after than. In a formal style, after than, THAN, subject pronouns I, he, etc. are used with verbs. But in an informal style, object pronouns me, him, etc. are used after than. Example, formal. He is older than I am. Informal. He is older than me. Formal. She has more time than he has. Informal. She has more time than him. Formal. I earn less than he does. Less than he earns. Informal. I earn less than him. 7. Elder, eldest versus older, oldest. Elder and eldest implies seniority rather than age. They are mainly used for comparisons within a family, but elder is not used with than. So older is necessary for comparison. He is my elder brother. She is the eldest sister. He is older than I am. E. Change the degrees of comparison. Example 1. He doesn't seem to me worse than the others we have had. Rewrite by using positive degree. He seems to me as bad as the others we have had. 2. You are so very much like everything else in this country. Turn into a comparative degree. You are not at all less than anything else in this country. 3. Lakshmi was shorter than average Indian women. Use comparative degree. Average Indian women were not as short as Lakshmi. 4. 5 years of a crowded, glorious life worth far more than the 45 in India. Convert into positive degree. The worth of 45 years in India is not as much as 5 years of a crowded, glorious life. 5. Better think over my advice, Valentine. Write in the positive degree. Nothing is so good as to think over my advice, Valentine. 6. He took a cigar a grade better than the one the warden had given him. Turn into positive degree. The cigar that the warden had given him was not as good of grade as the one he took. Page 515, example 7. We could not make it sooner. Rewrite by using positive degree. We could not make it as soon as we wanted. 8. Art training should have the same status and importance as reading and writing. Use comparative degree. Reading and writing should not have a higher status and importance than art education, or art education should have no less significant a status and importance than reading and writing. 9. I'm going to marry the finest girl on earth 2 weeks from now. Rewrite in the positive degree. No other girl on earth is as fine as the girl I am going to marry 2 weeks from now. 10. There isn't a man nearer than Little Rock who can open that door. Rewrite in the superlative degree. The nearest man who can open that door is in Little Rock. 11. The greatest destroyer of peace is abortion. Rewrite the sentence by using positive degree. No other thing is so great a destroyer of peace as abortion. 12. I am going to marry the finest girl on earth 2 weeks from now. Rewrite by using comparative degree. The girl whom I am going to marry 2 weeks from now is finer than any other girl on earth. 13. Training in drawing will give them better insight into literature, philosophy, and science. Rewrite by using positive degree. Other training will not give them as much insight into literature, philosophy, and science as training in drawing. 14. A direct encounter with an art object will do more to arouse their aesthetic vision than hearing 100 lectures. Rewrite by using positive degree. Hearing 100 lectures will not do us as much to arouse their aesthetic vision as a direct encounter with an art object. 15. And a voice less loud than two hearts beating each to each. Rewrite by using positive degree. And a voice not as loud as two hearts beating to each. Interchange of parts of speech. A sentence can be transformed by changing one part of speech to another. Table, process, original sentence, transformed sentence. By replacing some words with a noun. Original sentence. He did it honestly. Transformed sentence. He did it with honesty. He replied quickly. He gave a quick reply. She is affectionate to her. She has affection for her. She is proud of you. She takes pride on you. They did it carefully. They did it with care. He did the job alternatively. Beg your pardon. He did the job attentively. He did the job with attention. She took the responsibility eagerly. She took the responsibility with eagerness. The book costs rupees 200. The cost of the book is rupees 200. He works sincerely. He works with sincerity. She received us warmly. She gave us a warm reception. Next, by replacing some word with a verb. This is under process. Original sentence. She is admittedly the best dancer. Transform sentence. It is admitted that she is the best dancer. She is apparently graceful. She appears to be graceful. Smoking is injurious to health. Smoking injures the health. He gave a prompt response. He responded promptly. His failure is certain. It is certain that he will fail. Their team put up a brave fight. Their team fought bravely. I hope Sumit will achieve success. I hope Sumit will succeed. Page 516, process. By replacing a word/words with an adjective. Original sentence. She writes nicely. Transformed sentence. She writes in a nice manner. The boy troubled us much. The boy gave us much trouble. The voyage was full of dangers. The voyage was dangerous. He answered promptly. He answered with promptitude. 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 Evidently they are friends. It is evident that they are friends. It rained all day. The rain did not stop all day. The idea can be put into practice. The idea is practicable. This is an act of disgrace. This is a disgraceful act. Process. By replacing some words with an adverb. He passed an anxious hour. He passed an hour anxiously. It is unfortunate that she failed. Unfortunately, she failed. There is no doubt that he is honest. Undoubtedly, he is honest. She agreed to the proposal with joy. She agreed to the proposal joyfully. Who does not want to die in peace? Who does not want to die peacefully? I had a narrow escape. I escaped narrowly. He is admitted to be the best player. Admittedly, he is the best player. His actions are both prompt and wise. He acted promptly and wisely. Do not treat anyone with scorn. Do not treat anyone scornfully. She listened to the lecture with attention. She listened to the lecture attentively. Next, transformation of sentences textual.